first video. Today we're going to make spicy Korean beef with white rice, but I have the smallest kitchen in the world, so this should be fun. So the ingredients you're going to need I've set out just here for you. I'll go through each one so you know what they are. Starting with the beef. I'm using beef chuck that I got from my butchers. I'd always recommend using butcher's meat if you can. Support your local trade. I've got 800 grams roughly. You want to cut them into sort of inch cubed pieces and trim, you know, most of the main bits of the fat off if you can. This is cornstarch or corn flour. We'll use for the thickening of the sauce a bit later on. I've got Sriracha sauce in here, which is a chilli sauce, really hot. I'm using about 1.5 teaspoons worth in there because I'm a bit petrified of the ring sting. Add as much or as little of that as you want, and if you prefer to use Sriracha powder, feel free. This here is beef stock. I'm using just over half a cup, don't know if you can see that. Yeah, about half a cup of beef stock in there. 4 cloves of thinly chopped garlic and about the same amount in chopped ginger as well. I've got a teaspoon's worth of white pepper. I've got about a quarter of a cup, just under a quarter of a cup of brown sugar in there, and the same amount in reduced salt soy sauce. I just prefer to use a reduced salt one because it's a little bit healthier. Over here I have rice wine vinegar. Don't get that confused with rice wine, it's very different, but it's like a main base ingredient for a lot of oriental cooking. And this here is sesame oil. There's about a tablespoon of each in there. I've got a couple of onions which I'm going to dice up and show you what I'm going to do with that in a moment. Then for the garnish at the end, just some spring onions and chilli. Okay, so first thing you want to do is thinly slice your 2 onions up. Get them on a medium heat. Some olive oil in there, just a little bit of olive oil, just to reduce the onions down a bit. But you don't want them to get to a stage where they start browning off. Take them off the heat before that. Okay, so they can go straight in there. So I've got my onions on, they're almost done. You just want them to get to a stage where they're sort of, you know, where they go see-through, but not quite to the point where they're browned off. Just so they're nice and soft. The ideal type of onions is the type you would put on top of a hot dog, that sort of consistency. One thing I forgot to mention is that we're going to do this, the main chunk of this cooking of this Korean beef, in a pressure cooker. The only reason I'm doing that, you don't have to, but it just reduces the cooking time massively. It's probably going to take me about 15-20 minutes to get the whole meal done once it's gone in there, and the meat will be really tender and falling apart just as you'd want it. But I mean, you can cook it for anywhere up to sort of 8-10 hours if you wanted to do it in a slow cooker in the oven or whatever. You just got to increase the cooking time, and that's why I prefer using a pressure cooker. Alright, so your onions are done. Just take them off the heat and leave them to cool down at the side. Grab yourself a bowl, doesn't have to be like this is just the first one that came to hand. We're going to combine the ingredients I showed you earlier into here. So in goes the beef stock and the soy sauce, reduced salt, brown sugar. Pop the Sriracha chili sauce in there as well. Remember, it doesn't have to be the sauce, it can be the powdered version if you prefer. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, I'm going to blame it on the Yorkshire, so it's all about the accent. And pop your ginger in there. If you don't want to spend ages chopping your garlic and your ginger, use a cheese grater, the small end works just as well. Garlic's going in there too. White pepper. Then you want your sesame oil and your rice wine vinegar in there too. And you want to be giving it a good mix. Beef stock that I'm using is still sort of lukewarm, so the sugar should dissolve in that a little bit. Doesn't matter if yours is cooked completely, but give that a good mix up. Once you've got that mixed, get your onions in there too. If you prefer, if you want to make it even easier than how we're making it here, you can use onion powder. Just, you know, a tablespoon's worth or just under a tablespoon. And then finally, add your beef. In you go with the beef. And then get your hands in there, give it all a good mix up together. so that beef gets nicely marinated. And then leave that to a side just for the moment. Alright, next step, the pressure cooker. I've just got a pretty basic one. All I'm going to do is take the lid off, take the bowl out the inside, because this is the bowl I'm going to use, save me any more washing up to do. And I'm just going to transfer our marinade and mix from earlier into this. I'm going to put that back in the slow cooker, in the pressure cooker, sorry. Turn it on. And then I'm just going to set it on a high heat for 20 minutes. I think that's it. I'm no technological guru. There we go, that's going for 20 minutes. We'll come back and we'll have a look at that in 20. Alright, so while the pressure cooker is going for 20 minutes on a high heat, just got a little bit more prep to do for the garnish for the top. This is totally optional, but it does make it look a bit nicer, and I think the added fresh raw vegetables on the top just give it that little bit extra. 2 spring onions, 1 per person, pretty much. I've got a medium to mild red chilli, and then some sesame seeds. That's all you need. Remove the edges of the spring onions, and then just lightly chop them, and then just get rid of the end bit. Whack them into a little dish. Do the same with your chilli. I always do head off, tail off. It's up to you if you want to keep the seeds in. The seeds are the hottest part of the chilli. If you prefer it a little bit milder, take the seeds out. I like mine reasonably hot. So yeah, nice thinly sliced chilli. I'm only going to use half of this one because it's quite a big one. So you just want to put your chilli and your spring onion in that dish. A few little sesame seeds. Again, give that another little mix up. So this is pretty much your garnish for the top of the. If you can see that really, but yeah, it's just a little garnish for the top. Makes your dish look a lot more presentable. Right, the next thing you need to do while your beef's cooking in the pressure cooker, towards the end of the cooking, so within the last couple of minutes, this won't take long. You need your corn flour, and you just want to pour that into a bowl. And we're just going to mix this together with a bit of water. You want to use like a 1-to-1 ratio, so we've used 3 tablespoons roughly of corn flour, so you want 3 tablespoons roughly of water. That's about right. And just give it a mix with a spoon. And then when the beef stopped cooking in the pressure cooker, I'm going to add this, mix it together, pop it back on a saute setting, which is like a lighter setting, not quite as high as before, for about another 10 minutes. That's just really going to thicken up that sauce that's in there, bring everything together nicely, and then we're pretty much done. We've got the meat on the pressure cooker, we've got the corn flour ready to pop in just a moment, and we've got the garnish for the top, so everything's coming together nicely. The last thing you'll need for the dish, a bit of rice. I'd recommend leaving this until probably 15-20 minutes before you're ready to serve, which I think is pretty much the stage we're at now. I don't want to teach you how to suck eggs. I know a lot of people know how to make rice, but I also know that a lot of people struggle with rice and they can't get it right. So I'm going to show you how I make it, and it turns out right every time. It might not be everybody's cup of tea, but you know, just do what works for you. I'm going to fill up half a cup of water, just over half a cup of water into a pan, and I'm going to bring that to the boil. Okay, now our pan's boiling, I'm going to do the same with the rice, so the same quantity, half a cup. I don't follow the instructions on the back of the packet because I find my way works better. So your rice into your boiling water, I put a lid on, turn the heat up to maximum, and that's it. Just leave it for now. We're going to come back to that in about 5 minutes when it'll be nicely bubbling and it will have absorbed some of that water, okay? We're about 5 minutes into the rice cooking now. I'm just going to give it a quick stir. Soaked up most of that water. I'm just going to knock that heat down just a touch. We'll probably give that another 5 minutes. I've removed the lid, so we'll leave the lid off. In about another 5 minutes, what I'm going to do is remove that from the heat, pop the lid on and just let it steam for the final 5 minutes. Right, I'm just going to put this rice to steam now then. So I've just taken it off the heat. You give it a mix up with a spoon if you'd like. You see it's pretty much there anyway, it's nice and fluffy. Leave the lid on it and it'll steam within there for 5-10 minutes, and that'll just finish off the rice nicely so it's nice and fluffy. I'm just going to release the steam from the pressure cooker. This might take a while. Oh, it smells amazing when you lift that valve. That fragrance just comes out of the top. It just smells incredible. But if you can see in there, see what we've got so far, bubbling away nicely. Just going to use this wooden spoon and give it a nice stir up. You see the sauce, the consistency of the sauce is really thin at the moment. It's more like a soup than anything else. But the smell, honestly, the smell is incredible. So yeah, I'm going to pop this cornstarch mixture in there and give it a nice stir up, just so all that mixture, all the cornstarch mixture is mixed in with the beef. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to pop the lid back on. So this is pretty new. So after a bit of deliberation, I've finally figured out how to put it onto the saute setting for 10 minutes. So I've added the cornstarch mixture in there to thicken up the sauce, banged it back in for another 10 minutes. That'll just really bring everything together, thicken up the sauce nicely and finish off that beef. But up to now everything's cooked. Our rice has been steaming for a good 5 minutes now. You can see it's really nice and fluffy and just breaks apart with the spoon. So that's perfect. That's exactly how we want to do the rice. So all that we've got left to do now is give that the last 10 minutes. Okay, I've just taken the lid off the slow cooker after the second 10 minutes that it's had. The smell in here is absolutely amazing. All that's left to do now is plate up. So I'm just going to give this rice a little bit of a fluff up in there. That's perfect. Let's just plate some of that into my bowl. I'm just going to literally spoon some of this amazing Korean beef mixture onto the top of my rice. Perfect. And then just garnish with a little bit of the stuff we chopped up earlier. Perfect. Okay. And there you go. There is the Korean style beef. Good to go. This tastes incredible. It's really nice and fresh, sweet, not too spicy. It's perfect for me. The amount we've made there would potentially serve a family of 4, a hungry family of 4 as well. Hope you enjoyed my video. It's the first of hopefully many. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this dish now, so doodle pip.